Oh, hey, buddy, it's your old pal Scott, and this is Let's Talk Tabletop. So, anytime someone mentions that they don't like something about the current Warhammer situation, whether it be the latest edition or new FAQ or the price hikes or whatever, oftentimes in comment sections you can see suggestions of, we'll just play an older edition of Warhammer. It's called Oldhammer for those of you that don't know. So you choose to play Rogue Trader or 3rd edition or 5th edition or whatever you like. And it's really not a bad suggestion, actually. A lot of people do that. There's a big community of old hammerers in the world, and they may not all be together. They may be scattered, but there are a lot of people that actually enjoy playing Old Hammer. And they just pick whatever their favorite edition is, and they play it with their friends, or they play it solo, or whatever. It's got a lot of interesting aspects that make it appealing for people, but unfortunately, it's got a lot of problems as well. So let's dive into that. All right, so that you don't think I hate Oldhammer and that I'm hating on it and whatever, let's start with the positives of it, okay? If you're sick of the rat race of the constant changes and releases and all of that for regular Warhammer, Oldhammer solves all that because there are no new releases, there are new FAQs, nothing like that. So it's essentially set in resin, kind of like one of the mosquitoes in Amber. It's like frozen in time, and it's a complete finished product. Now, I'll get into other reasons why that may be an issue, but ultimately, if you loved 5th edition or 6th edition or Rogue Trader or whatever, and you're really familiar with the rule set, and you like the old miniatures, and you like the units, and you like the way that your army played or whatever, there's nothing stopping you. And matter of fact, it's probably a good idea for a lot of people that have either social anxiety or they don't like, having to spend money constantly or whatever. So that's one good thing. Another thing is if you have a group of friends that all agree on playing the same edition, then that's kind of a neat way to have this little bubble of, it almost becomes your own game in a way, right? Everyone treats the newest edition of Warhammer as what Warhammer is right now. And then when the new edition comes out, that's what it is now, right? But it's kind of cool. You can tweak the rules, you can do whatever you want, adjust points, you can make your own FAQs, that sort of thing, fix things. If in one edition Grey Knights and Blood Angels were fantastic, well, then maybe you nerf them just a little bit. Give them a 5% point increase, 10% point increase, whatever it takes. And you and your friends can actually iron out all the little issues in this one edition, and you just play it forever. So that's actually really cool. You don't have to worry about keeping up with literally anything, and you can really make it your own. And if you're going to treat the most common or the most current edition of Warhammer as official Warhammer, well, then you're essentially playing your own version of Warhammer. You picked the version of Warhammer that you like, and now you made it Jeff's Warhammer, essentially, right? It's a Edition J because you made it customized however you like it. And there's something really comfy and cozy about that. It's like, hey, I know it's never going to change. I know it is what it is. It's kind of like watching an old television show. And watching an old television show like The Office or any of them, it's kind of comforting that at the end of the day, everything's going to be the same at the end of the day. The whole sitcom thing. And it's comforting that you know what you're getting into. There's no anxiety. There's no nothing. So I do get that. Also, if you love the old miniatures and you really don't care about the new aesthetic for Primaris or anything like that, or you don't like what they've done with your current army, but you like the way it used to be, well then, hey, you like taking biker knobs as a troop choice in 5th edition because your war boss is a biker, you can do that because current edition doesn't allow you to do that, but you can do it back then. So that's really cool. In a way, it's kind of nice that people found what they liked, a version they liked, and they hopped off the progress train, right? And they say, hey, I just want to play this. This is what I like, and I'm not bothering with anything else. And another positive to it is saving money. Oh my gosh, if you're playing an older edition, there's no new releases. If you have a full army, you have a full army. There's nothing else to buy, which is really, really awesome. All those things make Oldhammer a fantastic choice for some people. I'm not one of them. The reason being, and once again, not hating on it, I'm glad you found something you enjoy, but what I don't like about Oldhammer is some of the problems it has. For instance, finding opponents. Now, if you're doing Tabletop Simulator, I'm sure that's done wonders for the Oldhammer community because you can find people in some Facebook group and play online, and that's really cool. But playing in person, let's say you love third edition, and your buddy, we'll bring Jeff up again. Jeff loves sixth edition. Well, unfortunately, one of you is going to have to win, or neither one of you wins, right? So, third edition and sixth edition are not compatible, and you're going to have to kind of decide on what edition you are actually going to play. So, you got to make sure you got opponents that are willing to play the edition you want. Another thing is with a somewhat living game like Warhammer is that it's got new developments, new units added, new factions. What if you stopped in 5th edition, right? There would be no Gene Stealer cult. There'd be no Custodes. There'd be no, there were Sisters of Battle, I guess, but no Imperial Knights. There's a lot of units that are actually missing, right? Harlequins didn't have models in 5th edition that you could actually use. So nothing, no Primaris, none of that stuff either. So there's a lot of limiting factors there. Now, of course, you could homebrew and make your own rules, but that's just another limiting factor to Oldhammer. And the way I see it is that out of all the population of mankind, right, there's like some percentage, some small fraction that are war gamers. Let's say gamers. Then there's a smaller fraction of gamers, including video game, board game, all that. There's an even smaller fraction that are tabletop gamers, even smaller Warhammer players, even smaller the edition that you want to play that is not currently the edition Warhammer players. You see what I'm saying? So you're really limiting the chance for you to find new players to play against. Now, if you have a insular group that likes to play the same edition and you really don't care about meeting new people or playing new people, then Oldhammer's probably not an issue, right? But most people, myself included, enjoy meeting new people, enjoy playing new people, and then unfortunately you're kind of on the hook for the latest edition. So that's really the biggest issues. You're really significantly limiting the number of players you possibly could have. Now, of course, you could get some, teenager or new player or something, and you indoctrinate them into your edition. And I mean, that's fine. That would work, right? They wouldn't know any better, and they probably wouldn't care if they enjoy playing you or your group or whatever. They like the aesthetic. It really doesn't matter, right? This is your game, and you really can make it your own. But that is the answer why everybody says, well, why don't you just play an old edition? Well, okay, but I like to play other people, right? I play at a gaming club. Everybody at the gaming club wants to play the new edition. They don't want to play an old edition. So do I just don't play anymore and I choose to play old editions and I'm not playing anybody unless they're playing third edition? Well, I can't do that, unfortunately, right? I could solo game it. I could play with a friend that wants to, but none of my friends want to. So that's where that comes in. That's exactly what happens here. Hopefully I cleared that up because so a lot of people don't seem to see that for some reason. They don't see that that would be extremely limiting and would have its own issues. And plus, another reason is I like the new models. Primaris I'm not in love with, but Primaris is serviceable. It's fine. And, Harlequins, Gene Stealer Cult, Custodes, Imperial Knights, all those things are pretty cool. And I would rather play with them versus not be able to play with them at all. Minus homebrewing if you want to do that. Now, one thing I would like to bring up is I have a new game out in the Brutality family called Mass Brutality. And if you like making rules and units the way you want, this game completely is miniature agnostic, genre agnostic. The lore makes sense for mashing Flesh Eater Courts and Imperial Guard or anything like that. And you stat out the units the way you see fit using the game mechanics. And it's been quite popular, actually. And maybe you want to check it out. Very 3D printer friendly and all of that. Another thing I'd like to bring up is that my beautiful, sexy, good smelling Patreon patrons, yeah, they help support the show. So thank you for watching the show. I really do appreciate it. I like to thank Mike up at the top there, who's been my leader of the Patreon for many years. And can't thank you all enough for your support, watching, liking, comments, sharing, subscribing, and hopefully this hasn't kicked up a poop storm in the comments. I mean, I'm not being hateful to it. These are just objective facts, right? If you say you like vanilla ice cream, there are probably pros and cons to that. It doesn't mean people hate you for liking vanilla ice cream. It's just that people have different opinions and different tastes, right? If I'm like, listen, I know you like vanilla ice cream, but I like chocolate. And vanilla ice cream's not nearly chocolatey enough for me. I really like my ice cream to be chocolatey. How could you be mad at me for that, right? Like you like vanilla, I like chocolate. What's it matter, right? So hopefully we can keep the conversation civil. I don't expect it to stay civil because a lot of people will just look at the thumbnail and then they will click on that and not watch the video and just comment something nasty. Go search the comment section for that. We'll see if it happens. But anyway, go to brutalityskirmishwargame.com and check out all my games. I've got a mass battle game. I've got a skirmish game. I've got a epic scale game. I've got a spaceship fleet game and all of that. So hopefully you'll find something you enjoy. Also, you can find free rules for the skirmish game at the Facebook group or at brutalityskirmishwargame.com. So shoot me an email or whatever you want. And I'd like to hear what you think of Oldhammer. I'll see you next week.